Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Blessings be on the speaker, the one who would always speak the words of truth and wisdom, the one who has always spoken the words of truth and wisdom in the previous life, the one who is speaking the words of truth and wisdom in the present life, and the one who would speak the words of truth and wisdom in the upcoming life. And blessings be on the listener, the one who has transcended himself or herself from unnecessary drama, the one who is seeker of the truth and wants to bring clarity in their perception. Hence, that listener is here. So someone has inquired a couple of days back, maybe 3 days, something around that, but I have been busy. First, I was busy working over the weekend, quite a few hours, which is a great thing. I have mentioned that before. Life requires involvement. You see, through the very nature of life is to extend, and the in numerous ways. One of the way life requires involvement is through work. You get involved with a lot of different accumulations of life. This is an accumulation of life. You are an accumulation of life. You see, life has no barriers or the boundaries or separation. Life is happening all over the same life. Just the accumulation of life is different. So the person has inquired, going back to the question or the inquiry, that why it is that life seems unhappy on times, or for the most part. You understand why it is that life seems unhappy on times or for the most part? Or in other words, how can we lead a happy life? Or in other words, how can we acquire happiness in our life? That's the question. The question is, how can we lead a happy life, or how come life seems so difficult on times, or how can we not be happy at all times? That's the question. That what is the key to happiness at all times, or why cannot we lead a happy life? That's the question. Now, I have explained question in 3 different ways, the inquiry. So there remains no confusion about the question. In very simple words, what is the key to lead a happy life? That's the question. What is the key to lead a happy life? So answer to that is, life does not understand emotions or feelings. The manifestation, life is an energy. The manifestation of life with a thinking mind understand the feelings, the emotions. Life is happening all over. As I said, there is no barrier or separation. People wonder time to time why it is not happening, why life is not happening, or in the way that we want it to happen. If you conduct a survey or you compile basically a survey and you ask 10 people, they would tell you the only complaint on the very fundamental level, the only complaint they have is life is not happening in the way they want this life to happen. There is no other complaint. If you break all their complaints, I actually was a month back, it is kind of funny that I was in a public restroom. I went over there and in the booth somebody what you call it craved on the booth with some type of sharp object that I hate my life. Even in the restroom, this person was being so expressive. Even in the restroom, this person was being so expressive about his point of view of life. And the person mentioned, I hate my life. These are the things we hear time to time. I don't like my life. I hate my life. Why life is not happening in the way I want it to happen? Well, the thing is, if life was happening in the way you want it to happen, then you would be God, wouldn't you? You see what I'm saying? And that would be a disaster because you don't have the right temperament for being one. You understand what I'm saying? If life if life was happening in the way you want it to happen, then you would be God, wouldn't you? And thank God you are not that, because it would be a disaster. The reason is you don't have the right temperament for being one. So it's a great thing life is not happening in the way you want it to happen. Otherwise you would have control on just about anything and you would want it to be in your way. It's not your way or my way or highway. It's not about that. It's life is just happening. Life does not recognize or acknowledge your feelings or emotions or your frustrations. You understand? You are the accumulation of life. Life is happening in the way it is happening. Life would never happen in your way. You take 100 births. You take 100 births, 100 carnations. You reincarnate over and over, and you have the same desire. Or 1 million times you take birth and you reincarnated 1 million times, it would still not happen in the way you want it to happen. You understand? It's not that life is not happening in your way. It's you are not happening in the way of life. You understand? If you go in accord with the way of life, the very nature, as I said, of life is different than what your thinking mind tells you it is. So there is a contradiction. You understand? Are you following me? What I'm trying to tell you, I'm answering your question, your inquiry, that why it is not happening or why we cannot be happy at all times. It's not that life, first of all, know this, life would never happen in the way you want it to happen. You see, and I told you why. Number two, the only choice you have, basically, you have no power on it. It's very powerful energy. You have no power on it. The manifestation, you the manifestation or the separate self, when asked a question like that, the answer to that question is life would never happen in the way you want it to happen. However, you can happen in the way life is happening. You don't ask nature to go in accord with you. The very existence of separate self, you mean separate self. You understand? It's not you personally or any one person personally. It's not. But the separate self. Separate self is zero. Separate self has no control on anything. It's zero. All the magnitude and power life has. All the magnitude of power the very nature of life has. You see, so you cannot expect life to go in your way. However you go in the way of life, you can learn that. You see, you can learn to go in accord with life. Then there remains no contradiction. There is no friction here now. Then you are going smoothly. I do it all the time, by the way. I've got a news for you. I do it all the time. Every moment of my incarnation, I am going in accord with life, or at least for the most part, if not every moment precisely. Then for the most part, I am going in accord with the nature, and I'm going in accord with life, you see. And when I can do it, so can you. I keep saying this in numerous times, in numerous occasions before, and I keep mentioning, when I can do it, so can you, because real me and real you is the life, you see. So how everything, no matter what country you go, traveling is not going to solve anything, you see, or changing locations is not going to, change anything. Remember, don't forget, please don't forget, just remember, not long ago, maybe last retreat or the retreat before, I said that people travel and try to look for happiness or a better life outside of themselves. Yes, you can. Some certain situations, hear me out, some certain situations depend on your surrounding. I'm not denying that. It's not solely. Some certain situations, a better infrastructure, a clean geographical place where people are more likely following rules and regulation and have more courtesy is a little bit peace of mind. It's true. I'm not denying that, because when I talk to you or I deliver a message, I look at things not fanatically. I look at things more realistic way. You see, because that's the only way we would evolve in the present situation. So yes, it's a fact. That's why people change countries. They travel from one country to another. Some of it is that. Oh, but remember something. I said some. I didn't say all of it. And yes, you change where people are going, following more rules and regulation. They have more courtesy with each other. They have more tolerance. Automatically, there is a factor of happiness over there, because how they are treating each other with respect and dignity. There are other countries where there is less. There are some countries where you would see that more. However, the concrete piece, as I said, the concrete piece resides in you. No matter where you go, no matter who you meet, or anything outside of yourself would not give you concrete peace. Concrete peace resides in you. So as I mentioned before, I do it all the time, or for the most part of my life. So anywhere you go, there are some certain things you would see that they are common, and which is that how the societies have developed, every society, not just American society or Indian society or Chinese society or British society or South American society, or these are the major prominent societies. But I'm saying that societies have some traits in the society, rules, and I'm not talking about rules and regulation in one country. I'm talking about some traits, some attributes in the society, unfortunately have been developed with the passage of time by the humans, and they are all common in every society, that people are thinking that earning a living and going to work, or they have made a big deal out of it. Life does not stop here. And that's why then they ask and they wonder why life is not happening in the way I want it to happen. You see, because they want they have made a huge deal out of earning a living. They have agreed and decided to themselves that going to work, coming back, form a family, form friendships, relationships, and do what you gotta do in the evening, and repeat the same thing over and over and over, and they think it's normal. Well, earning a living, a bug and an insect can earn a living. You see, earning a living, anyone can earn a living. Earning a living is important. Of course, we acquire different skills, we get educated. I'm not denying the significance of it. Of course, we gotta feed ourselves, we gotta work like I do, like all of you do. Earning a living is a dire. However, you don't live to work. You see what I'm saying? But people have agreed that they live. They work, and they people have agreed they live to work. That's the kind of impression I am getting from most people, at least, that they think they live to work, unfortunately. And then they say, I'm not happy. When you put all your energy and emotions and feelings and your physique, which is your physical accumulation, towards something which is a repetitive thing, you would automatically become bored. Then once in a while they will travel to some cruise, or they will travel to some tropical country for a couple of days, and when the time is over they are back to zero. You see, when these type of things you have made the mission in your life, then you cannot be happy. You see, first thing you need to understand is the very nature of life. It needs involvement, and it needs understanding of itself. That's the very nature of life. You don't take enough time, basically, to understand the very nature of yourself. Because once you understand the very nature of yourself, you are happy or at peace, either at all times or for the most part. You don't take time. You don't take time to evaluate a situation. You don't take time to evaluate yourself. You do not make these healthy habits your primary goal, and then you come around and you complain that sadly life is not happening in the way I want it to happen. Well, as I said, life is never gonna happen in the way you want it to happen. So the first thing towards your happiness would be that do not first of all, make time for yourself. Understand what life is. Understand yourself by doing simple physical and spiritual practices, as I always mention. Okay, even brief period of time every day, first thing in the morning. Number two, question everything. And when there is a drama going on in your mind, when there is a chatterbox, you looking at somebody, oh, I wonder what he's doing. You see, it's not your business to concern yourself with somebody, but most humans, that's what I see in them. And then they say, oh, I'm not happy, or my mind cannot rest. How are you going to imagine, or how are you going to expect your mind to rest while you are not taking the initiative? It's not necessary for you to concern yourself with other fellow humans, or it's not until unless a person needs help. Yes, go ahead and help them. That would be the best thing to do, and that's the beauty, that we bond with each other as humans. But concerning yourself psychologically in your mind, it's not necessary. It's just a nasty habit, a conditioning that you have learned, and then now you think it's natural. Some women, at my previous work, I forgot her name. Anyway, even if I remembered her name, I'm not going to mention her name, out of respect for one, and number two, it's not necessary. Anyway, some women, we were having a conversation in the previous work, and she said that complaint is in human nature. She made a point. So I looked at her and I said, no, excuse me, you are wrong. Complain. I looked at her and I said, love, let me tell you something. Very politely, I told her. I said, love, let me tell you something. You say complain in human nature. Complaining is human nature. And I looked at her and I said, love, let me tell you, complain has nothing to do with human nature. And by the way, there is no human nature or a hill nature or a tree nature. Nature is just nature. That's number two. Please remember that. And do not just shove words in other people's mouth without even saying what you are spreading and how important word can be. Complain is not in nature. Complaint has nothing to do in nature. Complaint is any time you have friction in your mind, any time you have contradiction in your mind, any time you create duality, the separate self, there is a complaint now. You see why I'm saying there is a complaint now. So these are small things that you should be aware of yourself, and it would be only natural if you, when you make time for yourself, it would already become natural process for you. Then you would not even feel that you are living a life or you are putting any efforts or struggle to live a life. I do it. I don't feel I'm living a life or I am putting any type of a struggle to lead a life. I am totally and fully involved with everybody, and then I am involved with you here. You see, and again, nobody's better. I have told you, real me and real you, we are the same. Real me and real you, we are the same. So if I can do it, you can do it, and we are all life, which is energy. Our accumulation may be different, you see, but we are all life, one life happening as a form of energy. So complaint is not in human nature. You create dualities first in your mind by personally attaching or concerning yourself with different people or people in your surroundings, or you wonder about useless things that these are small things. You see, these are small things and they pile up in your mind. And when it becomes a giant rubber band ball, then you say that, oh, I'm not happy. You don't pay attention to small things, but these small things affects you. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so what I'm saying to you is you concern yourself with somebody for no reason. You wonder a lot. You look at somebody and you think, oh, I wonder what that person is doing, or what she is saying, or what he is saying, or what they are talking about. Are they talking about me? Do I look fine? How am I doing in the society? All these unnecessary things. In the end, remember something. If you fully accept yourself, and by paying attention to yourself every day, then you wouldn't have to be insecure or wonder about anything else. It would automatically and naturally would happen to you, that how you would become so easy. You see, you wouldn't worry about these things. Anyway, so I told this woman that complaint has nothing to do with the nature. That's a wrong thing, that, you know, it's in human nature. No, it's not in human nature. However, there's something which is a human or a being always wants to be something more than what they are right now. That also creates it. That's a huge factor. You see what I'm saying? That's not a barrier, but it's something that cannot be ignored. Have you ever noticed that about yourself? When I go in deep and profound states of meditation, I notice a lot of things about myself. Myself does not mean yes, or this body, or this mind. As a matter of fact, when I look at the mirror, I don't even see myself. I see that I have projected this. I gave birth to this. That's what I see. Anyway, so I have made this out of what I essentially am. You see? So in a profound samadhi, when I am in a profound samadhi, I notice that human always is wanting to be something more than they are right now. You see, like different type of mirage and different type of illusions or the comparison factor, and they want to be more than what they have. They want to have more than that. Also would subside. You see, just like the thought would rise and thought would subside, just like that, that also would subside if you have taken enough time to know yourself. You see, remember, not long ago I mentioned the word fulfillment, where there is no further search of happiness and peace is necessary. That is the state where you understand that now you are fulfilled and you don't have the desire to be something more than you already are. You are totally and completely at peace with everything what you have. You see what I'm saying? So these are the things that you need to pay attention. Do not concern yourself with others unless somebody requires help. So we go ahead and we do the kind deed. You can talk. Of course, as I said, life needs involvement. Involvement is something else. Concerning yourself in your psychological drama is something else, and you know it. Anyway, so these are the things. Ponder about it, what I mentioned today to you, and see if it has any wisdom. Open to it. Don't believe me, as I always tell you, or don't disbelieve me. Don't, excuse me, don't believe me or disbelieve me. Just be open to what I said. If it has a shred of wisdom in it, it would automatically resonate through you. You see?